Welcome back to FPL Spad, your best place to find FPL content for the 22-24 season. My name is Spad. Today I'm going to show you my transfer watch list that I've created, which have great transfers that are lucrative for the future, transfers that are gambles, and transfers that we certainly have to avoid ahead of game week 3. If you like my video, please like and subscribe to my channel. Check out my Twitter feed where I do price rises and price drops on a daily basis. Thank you for watching my video. Let's get on with this video. So first up, we have a great transfer in Spinian. A mistake I made before my first game week by taking him out for sure. He's a great transfer to bring in if you don't already have him. His price has increased to 5.2 million. First game back next is West Ham at home. In my opinion, bring him in if you don't already have, and he's the only transfer you gotta make. Bring him in. Next up, we have Mitamo, Brighton. Price went up last night just before I was making this video, up to 6.6. He's a lucrative transfer because I reckon his price will keep going up. He's already highly owned, so it'll take a while to his price slowly go up. Next game up is against West Ham at home. Great transfer to bring in. He's already raking in the points. Next up is a gamble transfer. It's Semedo. He scored a goal against Liverpool the other day. He's going to be starting for them all the time at 4.5 million. Is a very good player to have on the bench as a third striker. Next game up is against Tottenham at home. Tottenham did win the last game against United. They are looking good as an attacking team, but they do look a bit defensively shaky, so he might get a few points there as well. Next up, we have a avoid transfer in Wan-Bissaka. United look terrible in the last 2 games. I don't expect them to keep a clean sheet. Maybe they keep a clean sheet in the next game against Nottingham Forest at home. Should be an easy game. Hopefully he gets a clean sheet. Not likely to get an assist. Maybe a clean sheet. But in my opinion, avoid him if you can. Next up, we have Visa, cost 6.51 million. Crystal Palace at home next game. Has a very productive first two games. Made a decent amount of points. It's quite cheap for a forward if you want for a third option or maybe for a second option, because not many striker options available at the moment. So he's a good transfer to bring in if you need to bring another striker in. Next up, a very lucrative transfer again from Brighton, March. One of my favourite players, raked up the 15 points in the last game, got 2 goals. 3 bonus points as well in the game. Got next game up against West Ham United as well. His price went up last night as well as I was making this video to 6.6. I expect his price to keep going up higher and faster because his percentage ownership compared to Mitamo is a lot lower than him. So a lot more people will be bringing in March. So his price will be going up in the coming weeks. So it's a very good transfer to bring in if you already don't have him. Next up is a gamble transfer in a Kanji. His price went up surprisingly last night to 5.1 million. The next game up is against Sheffield United away. Decent game for them. Only reason I see is a gamble, rotation risk. He played in the CDM position the other day. If Stones is back, he'll go straight back in. He will get moved around, maybe drop to defense. Not 100% sure. You can't guess Pep. So in my opinion, try to avoid him if you can, to have any heartache of him not playing at all. Next up to avoid is Aurier for Nottingham Forest. I think he got 2 assists in the last game, maybe. Made a lot of points. 10 points, I think. Next game up is against United away. It's a harder game. He cost 4.5 million. I don't expect him to make many points in the future. One-off game against Sheffield United does not prove that you're going to be consistent point maker in the coming weeks. So in my opinion, you should avoid him. Next up, we have Maddison. Went up by price the other day to 7.6 million. Next game is Bournemouth away. I expect him to perform. He's a star player for Spurs. He links up all the attacking play and his skill is there to show. So he will be part of getting assists mainly. Not goals, mainly assists. So it's a good transfer to bring in. Next up, a very lucrative transfer in my opinion for second or third striker is Julian Alvarez for Man City. His price is 6.5. I expect it to be going up in the next couple of days or in the week. So I expect a lot of people to start bringing in other strikers because the strikers they already have not been putting the points out there. Like Nunes, Jackson, Watkins, he got some return. Wilson's not putting out any numbers there. Isak got some numbers in the first game, but not in the second game that was against Man City, so you can wipe that off. But in my opinion, for 6.5 million striker, very cheap option, especially when he's probably starting every game as De Bruyne is out for 4 months. So it's a very good striker to bring in, as playing a two-man City strike force is not done by a lot of people. So in my opinion, it could be a good opportunity and a lucrative opportunity for the future as well. Next up, a gamble is Awani from Nottingham Forest. He's got a goal in both his first games. Next game is against Forest, against Man United away. It's going to be a lot harder game than the other two games were. Don't expect it to be a goal, but maybe, you never know, get a set piece corner and header in. Cost 6.5 million. Is a gamble in my choice. I'll avoid, but some people might take the chance as a third striker or a second striker, as we have no options, as I said already. And the next one to avoid is Dasani. Plays for Chelsea, costs 5 million. Next game is a Luton at home, so they should get clean sheets, but it could be a rotation risk. Not guaranteed sure. Chelsea didn't have the best game yesterday. They couldn't beat the West Ham team that were down to 10 men for 30 minutes of the game. And they let another goal in instead. So in my opinion, it's a bit of a risk. So in my opinion, I would just avoid and go for a different Chelsea defender in Cowell, who's cheaper, or Chidwell, who's a more attacking left back and will probably get you more points from assists or goals. So in my opinion, you should go for him instead. Next up to another one as a void is Trippier, in my opinion. Overpriced at 6.5. Next game is up at Liverpool at home, which is a hard game. So I don't expect him to keep a clean sheet in that game. He might get an assist. I don't expect him to do, because his form hasn't shown in the last 6, 7, 8 months. So in my opinion, you should avoid him as well. Next up is a gamble. He was a great transfer last week for me after his first performance against Liverpool. Jackson. Next game up is against Luton. It's a lot easier game, but I didn't see enough in the last game to see him getting goals in this game. Raheem Sterling, on the other hand, had a great game. He was very attacking, running straight at the other team's defense, looking like a bigger threat than him. He might get rotated, but I don't know who for, because he is the only ST they have at the moment. Even though Chelsea have spent so much money in the transfer window, they still need more attacking options, as Pochettino said the other day, which I find hilarious, because they spent so much money as it is. So in my opinion, he's a gamble, because he hasn't got a goal yet in the first 2 games. He's shown promise, but promise is not good enough to have him in your team. Next up, in my opinion, another lucrative transfer is a Man City player, Foden, at 7.5 million. I expect his price to keep going up as well, as people will bring him in as a replacement for De Bruyne or another Man City player. The next game up is against Sheffield United away. A decent game. I expect him to start and get some points in those games. Hopefully set up a goal for Haaland. Haaland didn't get in the goal in the last game, which annoyed me a bit, because he was my captain. And people that chose Salah got more points in the end. And I didn't have Salah. I could have chosen a lot of other people in my team to be captain instead of Haaland, and I would have made more points. But that's how it goes sometimes. But Foden is a great lucrative option to have. And finally, a great transfer. He hasn't played the second game week yet, which is today against who they playing today again? I forgot. But the next game is against Fulham at home. Cost 8.6 million. He's got price went up a couple of days ago. He's star man for Arsenal. A great transfer to bring in if you don't already have him. He'll get more points. A cheaper option will be Martinelli at 8 million, but Saka will be most likely be on pens. So that's the main reason why you should bring him in. He's the most attacking player for Arsenal and the star man for Arsenal. So that's who I will bring in. And that is it for the transfer watch list that I've created. And if you have a quick look at it, in my opinion, depending on how many transfers you have, in my opinion, you should be concentrating more on your midfield or your attack. Everyone must have Haaland already in the team. So if you need a second striker who's better than the current one that you already have, Reese is a good option to have, because you can save some money on him, or Julian Alvarez. I'm maybe looking to get Julian Alvarez in my team, because I don't think Brentford will get goals every game, where Reese will get points every single game, because they'll have a lot more harder games than Man City, because Man City have a better team. So in my opinion, I will be choosing Julian Alvarez over Wisa, because I just think in the long term, he'll be more lucrative in that sense. If you're going for another midfielder, will be a great option, will be, depending on how much money you have, will be Maddison or Saka, or even Foden. All three great options to have as midfielders, even March as well. So you have a lot of choices if you want to replace some of the strikers that have not been firing so far. The only depending on which players you want to take out. So say if you got United play in Bruno or Rashford, who haven't performed so far in the first two games, their next game is against Nottingham Forest home. So it's like a bit of a gamble taking them out for this game week, because they got an easy game and got a good chance of getting points. Hopefully, they improve on the first two performances. But on the other hand, if you want to guaranteed points, March is a great option to have. Has already got 3 goals already in the first 2 games, and I expect him to get a goal in the next game at home against West Ham. I see them as a focal point. Even though he plays on the right, he always goes into the middle to receive the crosses from other midfielders that are in the Brighton team. And they just look so attacking. Such a great team at the moment. So that is a very good option to have. So in my opinion, I'll be choosing between March or Foden. Maddison is a great option, but I watched the game the other day against United. He was playing a lot more deeper, trying to control the game more. So I don't expect him to get an assist every game. He got 2 assists in the first game against Brentford in free kicks. One in free kick and one was a bit lucky. He was falling over and he was the last person to kick the ball to the player to get the assist. So he's a great option to have. Not a great option, but a decent option to have. And then if you have got the cash, bring in Saka. He will bring you points before his price keeps going up slowly. So they're my choices for transfer watch list of ahead of game week 3. Pick whichever one you want, which helps you out for your future game weeks and increases your points tally for the coming game week. So that's it for this transfer watch list. I hope you enjoyed and found it interesting. If you did, please leave a comment on the video. I might have mispronounced some player names, but I hope you understood what I meant. Please like and subscribe to my channel for future FPL content to help you win your mini leagues. Thank you again for watching my video. See ya!